Welcome to our lovely future humans. There are 5D Collective. To those who do know what the future looks like, because you understand how the daily practice to unlock your true purpose, your sense of purpose, to find it, it involves what? Come on, regulars, I'm testing you. Personal growth, spiritual growth, mindset practices, the journal prompts, the guides, unpay it, but wait for it. If you're new, you don't know. So personally, in my 46 years of human being life, of course the first 3 are implicit memory. Then at 4 is my first time for getting rejected. I got to run home crying. No, I don't know if I ran, but I went home crying. And I got to be told by my mother that it's okay to be different. And I remember the heartbreak thing. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this and a little bit about that. And the embodied brain is what I'm going to start with, because that's what today in our lovely era, for those who are aware of the daily practice, it's called being yourself. So you become transformed for some as they go to mindful therapy and they become aware of the left and the right. So with being yourself, the smart way, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, that's where the mindset practices work. And the fulfillment is from here. So it's a ventral vagal state that you're going to be anchoring in. And that's what our future humans are made of. I'm a future human as a mystic, but I'm going to pause to give you those spiritual stories. I have 3 twin flames in a little bit. So again, 4 years of age, Maria gets rejected. My most favorite memory is my 3-year-old. I didn't lose myself, and I have a lot of different ways that I bring to you all the spiritual stuff. But what I love to tell you is I bring the human elements, the spiritual and spirituality elements, and I'm here to inspire human potential. But I can't motivate you. But you know what actually supports motivation? Dopamine. I call it yucky dopamine, but that's because of a viral, unfortunate dopamine detox bullshit thing that the people who are faking it, I'm kind of annoyed with fakers, the faking regulated leaders. So I'm trying to talk about it. The fakes are the people who don't own themselves yet. That's why the daily practice to unlock their actual purpose. You know how Peter Pan has lost boys and they follow Wendy around? When people fall for their own cognitive dissonance and they don't move out of it, someone called it gaslighting themselves. Others will call it distortion, which is what I'm going to use. And the fact that they don't discern their own effective realism, I got broken free from it when I was 8 because I got disowned and my mother told me the truth. So as I'm growing up, at 4 I'm rejected and my mom's like, it's different, not good, not bad. I cried it out. I got to do all of that good stuff. When people say that people are bored if they hear a very neutral story, I'm like, not really. Actually, some of us don't need, we don't do drama. Our bodies are really into the eustress stuff, the healthy eustress ventral vagal state. So I have science for me to help explain it. Restorative embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. So that's why the guides on PayHip are for people who are regulated leaders. They own their sovereign blueprint. They want to own more of it. They discern when their effective realism comes up. The accessible guide, my lovely life partner, he's the reason why you will have that, because I had a lovely conversation with him and he made a good point. So when you do know that no self-help book, no spiritual book, no personal growth book, the books of the ones who tell you do what I did, okay, so that's where enlightenment, not the trap. Validating each other's stories and then not noticing where's the heart. So when you get rejected, that's one of those 5 basic core wounds. Those who have the inner curiosity, it's because we did the strength and the courage. We don't talk about our childhood in ways that are torturous, because there's children, like a little girl who in my mind's eye is being handed a juice box, but she's terrified because they're physically bombing the place. So, it's pretty straightforward what a mindful human being in front of you, who's also a mystic and spiritual one, and a person of grace knows. God always wins. No evil monsters or devils or demons, because when I look in the eye of every human being out there, I know I have one of 2 types of people. The ones who are authentic and transparent and their actual ventral vagal state, so they have what are called real cojones. In fact, they know how to discern their own shit, which is why they don't bring it into the room. Furthermore, they don't need to make up some hook, some evil team to basically, but you see, as I was saying, when you spot distortion in effective realism, it's called perception, it's called subjective beliefs, what people think that I have, and I say I know my subjective beliefs as I believe in God and my spiritual embodied experiences, and I in fact bring them very grounded in reality, which is why I'm not a spiritual bypasser. It's also why I'm an actual person of grace versus the pretenders who they do their best, that's true, but when they're in a spirituality awakening group and they're not compassionate, kind, and they don't know how to welcome differences, they're liars. Because the forgiving thing isn't, I forgave, so sorry you rejected. That's called what I think of as a spiteful teenager, but it's not. It's a teenager who hasn't met themselves yet because they don't want to be in the fetal position. And when I see them doing this, women, gather around in a 1 minute short. Remember, after they fuck you, don't think it. And I'm like, what? Wedding bells, and all these women are giggling. I'm like, no, you're trash. The ignorant men and women talk about, polyamory, monoamory like trash, whores. They still like to use all these words. Some people get really pissed about it. I'm just like, you know what? I don't need those words because I'm going to know what love is because it's easy and it's actually not about promiscuity and all those big fucking words. It's basically, do you know how to be yourself and be kind to others? Because that's called relational integrity. If you don't have it, then you can't actually embody that which is your humanity yet because you haven't done the ventral pivot. The survival mode are all the people who have this defense mechanism going on. Okay, so when you don't learn how to autonomously self-regulate as an infant, you don't learn it by accident. You have to do a thing called hard work. I don't know it because I automatically am self-regulated, which is why by the time I got to my third twin flame, all I can tell you is I thanked God at some point for keeping me far away because I would not have done well. I would have today been ashamed of myself because the daily practice to unlock anyone's true purpose is again to accept, respect, not humiliate, no, not project and get all the 3-year-old isn't an angry 3-year-old. You see what I'm saying? I don't need to, and it's not even a 3-year-old. So the spiteful teenager is a fight response. And it's the whole distortion and projection and effective realism. I too, it is right, that feels right. People who don't like that which is an explanation tend to say my subjective belief, and they don't say calmly, they actually get in their subjective belief being a truth, and it's like, okay, we all have subjective truths. Thank you, Neil deGrasse, for organizing that. I'm a yellow source, but I know what a green source is, and it has checks and balances. And because unfortunately we have those who are distorting a number of things, I'm not confused with where I find the truth. I'm also not confused with how those who write how they choose to give me information. In fact, that's why when I'm reading it, I rip out all the adjectives, the descriptive ones. I pick them out. They're using good and bad. That must be their subjective experience. They're using this and this. Okay, wait, what is it doing? It's helping air, water, food. Okay, so how is it helping? Does it take into consideration? Is it taken in consideration the people, and are they? So it's very easy for me to spot if it's a sustainable project or not because they will take into consideration everything. And that's why we do have actual future humans already at hand. Entrepreneurs are amazing. They fill the gap because not only do they know what the market wants, they also know their purpose. Like a man who said, I'm going to fix the economic system, and another one who said, I didn't realize you thought it would be easier to do that than to build your own money. And I'm like, yeah, someone has balls and you don't. But hey, all the groupies are going to keep following you around to try and make millions. In the meantime, that guy's going to make an impact with the other guys who are going to also make an impact. So let me think. Who do I want to copy? Yeah, I don't want to copy either of them, but I will for sure try to network and engage with the one who's building that which will change the future, even though we might not agree on everything. But that's a side note. So when you do know how the sense of purpose works, it's not actually something that has a word. It has, how do you get motivated? I'm motivated because I want to help people when I grow up, and I'm doing it with the pay-hip resources that you have, the digital kind, and then mentorship for those who want that. And in my 46 years of life, as I continue ascending, we have some amazing energies around. I continue spotting the distortions of those who are Peter Pans with lost boys, and they're fun in the drama land, and I'm not joining them because I'm not a drama king or queen. I actually did watch soap operas about my age was 20ish. Then at a certain point I'm like, they're not really interesting. And then at a certain point I'm like, why do I have these types of, this is not interesting. And I continued with, I'm gonna stop venting, I'm gonna stop and as I continued without any of the grown-up words that I use now, because I didn't have mindfulness words at 16 years of age or the mystic words, I can tell you that all I was doing was being mindfully aware of Maria's very strong emotions, not falling for that, not distorting it. The teenage boyfriend, the number one coward in my life, and they are still the same coward like anybody else, though, who doesn't become themselves, which is why it's not nice of me to call them a coward. So I'd rather call them a clown, like my facade friend, as they're at. You know what happens to someone with the dark sides of neuroplasticity? I'm 46. I don't know how old you are, but it don't look good. It also becomes very obvious that they're not really opening their mind up to that which is the future, the present, and it's not even, I don't even know, I just know that thankfully because of Peter Levine, I cried my eyes out. Thanks for Bezel van der Kolk explaining why people are afraid to trust themselves. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, for explaining how the mind is shaped by relationships and how if it's not integrated brain, I don't have the person in front of me, I have whatever it is they were able to deal with as they were growing up. As for the ones who don't like that we are forgiving people, they have a whole group that doesn't want to forgive. I said yes to Jesus, and I said yes to Holy Spirit and God, and to this day he taught me how not to play a know-it-all by the time I'm 20. So that was my one lesson, and that one relationship that I will not be talking to the human being. It's not because I don't want to, it's that I know them that well to the point of saying, well, you were my lesson for a reason that I don't disclose because I know why. So when you do understand, everyone has a choice. It's called choice points. Some people choose to commit themselves to that which is, what was it, Robert Spolsky? To that which they've been determined. I have been determined as Maria. With my left and my right, I share with you, a book won't help you find your sense of purpose or your true self or any of that. It will be you being able to know yourself with a steady self-image because you can autonomously self-regulate, which means you differentiate. It means you discern your very strong emotions, your very strong thoughts, and then you continue to do that which we all do. You ventral pivot, you expand, you enlighten, and that's why enlightenment. It's not the trap. No, validating each other's charges, distortions, stories, conspiracies, and a bunch more, and the spiritual bypassers are just as funny as the somatic bypassers. So when someone's faking it, I know that they don't use my daily mindset practices on PayHip, the journal prompts, the nervous system sovereign blueprint, guides, and even if they did, they won't do it right. Because there's one thing that you don't have the capacity to do if you didn't learn it. To forgive when you get rejected, every single bit of all of it, because you're processing the core and saying, I'm not made wrong. No one is deserving to be shamed or treated like shit. Everyone's a human being of grace. Everyone. And we're all in flesh. And the soul can't be broken and spirit can't be tainted. And love was not created by us humans. But you better bet bypassers love to give credit. Ego, what's up? So I don't need to give credit. But what I want to give credit to is our biology. Because when you understand how love evolved, lovely anthropologist shared that with me. She shares what parts of the brain light up and how love, both when you're on a high, can become addictive. Here's limerence for you. And breakups can become addictive. And the breakups, unfortunately, with rejection is why people will not do great unless they get out of that rumination. So depression, killing themselves, killing others, she was mentioning, stalking, like things that are not really cool. We all know, thankfully, with the attachment trauma education, that that's something that's healable, so we don't need to demonize anyone. And that's why we look in people's eyes that are doing great by being members of their community, leading integral lives, while their petty society continues to point fingers and judge them, because see, that's where petty is anyone who is thinking that they know good or bad based on stereotypes and generalizations. You see what I'm saying? So those core wounds, humiliation, rejection, abandonment, injustice, and betrayal are always done by the same 5 hands that people don't notice themselves bringing forth, because that's the inconsistency of a not securely attached person who does not know their purpose yet, because they don't know how to autonomously self-regulate, because they don't have their whole self. It's only when you have a whole self, you look in the mirror, you have a clear conscience, you breathe, and you know everyone has a heart, and everyone has a gut, and everyone has a soul. And if they're not capable of being functional child adults, gooey, that's because, unfortunately, their body is hooked on drama because they got scared shitless, and that's a sad story. It doesn't enrage you. What enrage is a little girl in my mind's eye being scared of a juice box and people thinking that they're doing God's message and service and whatever. Sure you are. You keep lying to yourselves like that. You're only fooling those who don't understand how love actually works and humanity and how we evolve. You don't shame people into evolution. So when the neuroscientists and the attachment trauma educators explain to one of spirit everything, you say, hey God, listen. So scientists have figured out they can help every human on the face of this planet even without any faith at all. But can we stay? And in the future we do have spirituality, because it can't really die. Science and spirituality always come together. It's harmony. And that's because you put your left foot in and your right foot in and you shake it all about. But you can't believe in me because you're not part of the future yet, are you? I am, but I'm just saying, it's okay. You can call me woo-woo pseudoscience lady, because that's what I am. But in the meantime, my sense of purpose, motivation, and consistent fulfillment in my experience have come from this steady self-image. I have relational integrity. I autonomously self-regulate. I know how to explain it. I know how to do it. I know how to tell you all about it, which we'll talk about some more. And when you are doing these practices, what's fun is that you get to deepen your life force. You get to deepen that relationship with your soul's journey and spirit and all for mystics, and then with people. And you then continue to fulfill my person. So for me, it's helping you to be you, not me. We don't copy each other. In fact, we create leaders. Every challenge for me has allowed me to grow resilient, authentic, and emotionally intelligent. And you can do it too, because we're all intelligent, sentient beings. The ones who don't want to, we're not going to make them. So again, by being your own safe haven and secure base, this is a securely attached person in front of you, and I've been so my entire life. Because when I got rejected, I didn't say my heart was broken. I said it's a muscle, it can't break, and I promised Jesus, God, and Holy Spirit I would forgive, not cast stones, believe without seeing. I haven't seen a monster in anyone's eyes. I just know that when I do meet people who are hurt, they definitely don't know how to do the self-regulation stuff, but I can give them a hug, which is really nice. And then together our life forces can get all these. So my sense of purpose has never gotten confusing or shaky, because I know what the right thing is to do, and it is to support every one of you to know why leaders create more leaders, while fear-based leaders create followers, and they continue to create bullshit. Being yourself empowers you. Pretending to be yourself doesn't. Enlightening is what we do, because we're a restored, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person who continues day by day to do practices with the thoughts, but the feelings come first. Check out PayHip, check out Substack. We'll be back with more. Have a good one.